Alright boys, so it's that time of the month again where I gotta prep you guys for the upcoming events coming out for May, and it looks like May is gonna be a bit of a banger. So currently what we got going on right now is the Guda Guda Final Hanonji rerun. Not a bad event, you can get yourself a Kage Tour, got some pretty cool servants on raid up, but this is gonna go and this is gonna lead us into the beginning of the month, and that's when we're probably going to see this collaboration event right here, because if you notice, this ends on the 2nd and this starts on the 6th, so it seems like, I don't know, probably as soon as this event goes down, they probably just drop this immediately, and it's going to bring this little summoning campaign right before the event starts, and then this will start obviously on the 6th. Now, obviously, I don't have to say this, I'm pretty sure everybody's expecting me to say this though, but you don't need to summon for any of these servants, unless like Osaka Behime or Janaka or like some of your absolute favorite of all time characters. Even then, I would say they're both on the ticket. Go snag them on the ticket if you really like them that much, right? Because even though I think Waver is the best servant to get, if you just absolutely love Osaka Behime, right, she's just by and large your favorite servant, you're probably gonna have a better time picking Osaka Behime than going with the meta option with Waver. Although, you should probably still do Waver, it's the smartest option, but if she's like your absolute god tier favorite waifu character, then you can pick her there. And so there's really no reason to summon on this banner. I mean, it's just a little bit of bait, and you guys gotta understand, we're within like sniffing distance of Castoria. Like, she's coming along, bro. Like, you got very few things to kind of dip, dodge, and weave around because she's gonna be coming. And you don't want to be summoning on this banner, because if you are going to be summoning on something this month, so we're definitely going to be getting this, and then I think towards the end of the month, like right towards the very end of the month, I think we're actually going to go ahead and see this event drop as well, because this is going to end on the 25th, and that still gives us like 6 days left in the month, and I'm like, surely they don't just like let the game sit in some weird like 6-day hiatus. Surely they either drop the interlude campaign as a kind of like a small little week of content, or they just start this event outright. I'm thinking though they'll just go with this, because I think they're just trying to drain as much Saint Quartz as possible from people, but I'm pretty sure we'll see this one. But if not, it's going to be one of these two, because, you know, sometimes they tweak the orders of things a little bit, but generally they're very consistent on what they do. But yeah, when this event drops, you're gonna be able to get yourself Eris. Eris herself is very, very good. I'll actually just pull her up over here, because Eris, she has a little bit of odd kinks to her, like in how she can play. But again, as far as like free-to-play servants go, she's definitely one of the better ones, right? You can definitely get a lot of usage out of her. I mean, she's got some pretty good hits on her NP, pretty decent for an art servant. She's got very just decent all-around good skills. I mean, she does like lean into death rate, which is not super good, but she pretty much gives every buff that she really wants, right? She's gives herself like a nice little damage mod, some crit damage, has the arts buff, a little bit of defense, like just an all-around just solid AoE arts lancer right before we get Castoria. So just in case you don't have Castoria, actually right now you should be covered, because Kage Tora is a single target arts lancer, and so then you have your single target and your AoE, and then you can even bring them to kind of like type neutral things if you don't have anybody else. So they're really priming you guys right now to make sure that you farm both of these things, because Castoria is coming, and you're going to want to have servants like this if you don't have other people in your box to, you know, fully take advantage of that Castoria you're going to be getting. Also, if you are somebody with Scotty, you know, you're unlike myself, who is now failed twice trying to get Scotty, but you know what, maybe GSSR this year is the ticket for me to finally get my Scotty, although then Castoria will be out, and I don't know if I'll really care about getting Scotty, but you know, I still want to use quick servants. Anyway, rambling aside, you're going to be having the chance to go ahead and get Voyager over here, and Voyager is like your alternative to Edmund Dante's, because Voyager doesn't hit as hard as Dante's, but he packs a 50% battery, right? So he is packing a badonkadonk battery, and he's built a little more modernly. And what I mean by that is, like, Dante's is kind of built specifically to loop, right? You can bring Dante's to challenge quests, you can bring him to harder boss fights, and he can perform in there, but he's not really built for it, right? You know, he's definitely aging a little bit with like how his skills are built and how he's more of a burst type servant, right? And FGO wants you to be able to sustain in longer boss fights now, right? So Voyager's built with a little more of that modern flair to him, right? Like, he's got more things going for him. Like, he's got a good survivability, the battery, the longer lasting buffs. A few, again, odd things about his kit, as I'll talk about when I have to make the video on him, but if you don't have a Dante, so you don't have a high NP Lancelot, I'm talking like maybe NP 345 Lancelot, Voyager might not be a bad idea to throw some quartz at, because he's actually really strong with Scotty. But if you're kind of getting along just fine anyway right now, and you're like, well, I'm already doing fine, I'm already able to farm everything just fine, then I wouldn't go ahead and summon for Voyager. And then especially if you're somebody that's like, you don't even have Scotty, just pump the brakes, try to get him when the rerun event comes back around, and then you can just summon for him then, because if you don't have Scotty, you can't really use him to his full power, quote unquote. But then if this comes out, then this actually becomes really interesting, because then that means Berserker Musashi is going to come back around, and this is actually going to be one of the times when we'll be like, you should probably try to snag Musashi, because the next like really good Arts Looping Servant won't be out till the beginning of next year, when Space Ishtar gets her rerun, right? And that's going to be like a whole like 6 months, 7 months, depending on, you know, NA timing. And you know, like, Space Ishtar is really good, but if you don't have her, you don't have her, right? And then you're just like, well, then you have Castoria, but then you don't have, like, a premium, just splashable farmer that you can bring to anything. Like, the appeal for Space Ishtar and Berserker Musashi is that you can just bring them to anything, right? It's like the same way that, like, Dante's Lancelot and Voyager have appeal, right? Is that they're just, like, they're not restricted by any class advantage or anything. It's similar to, like, you wouldn't bring Shiro Muramasa to farm archers, right? So, like, technically then, I mean, even though I've done it a few times and had some success, although it's definitely in part due to the fact that I went for him NP2, but that's besides the point. It's kind of like you could just bring them to anything. And Berserker Musashi, the fact that she is a Berserker, and the fact that she does have this just absolutely dumb, filthy second skill, she gives herself 50% NP gain. I do technically prefer her, even though I didn't rank her as high as Space Ishtar on my farming list. I still have a preference for using Berserker Musashi, because I just like the fact that she's a Zerk and can just do really good damage against anybody when it comes to farming. So this is going to be like the one time that I'm probably going to push this pretty hard, because if you're going for Castoria, Berserker Musashi will be more than fine for you to use with her, right? She will pretty much farm everything, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She is definitely very strong. She even has a little bit of utility in challenge quests. Like, if you look at stuff like this, it's like she's packing Pierce Invincibility, has a gut, stuff along those lines. A little weird that she, you know, almost kills herself, but, you know, that's kind of besides the point. Castoria should be able to keep her alive with a Solemn Defense and the targetable invincibility on her third skill, all that good stuff. But if this comes out, not only do you get access to, again, another really good free-to-play art servant in a single target art saber in Hokusai, but then you can also just pick up like one of the best arts farmers in the game. Because even if like some people misunderstand when I do those videos, when like it's like top 5, I think that top 5 is really tight. Like, I think it's really like interchangeable, because they're all like the best of the best, right? Like, they're all insanely good. If you have any of those 5, you're pretty much just thrashing everything, right? And so the fact that she's up there competing with those people, you're going to be absolutely fine. I mean, she still is holding up to this day over on JP. She's still just absolutely obliterating people. So yeah, this is going to be one of the ones that it's going to be like, yeah, you might want to go ahead and summon for this lady, because she definitely puts in a lot of work with double Castoria. But if this is the one that comes out, the interlude campaign, if they do this one first, because this is technically a little bit shorter, you can try to go ahead and summon for Reigns. Reigns is not a bad one to summon for, because this interlude campaign brings her buff, and I'll just show that real quick so people know what I'm talking about. But they buff her third skill over here, and they give it a 30% battery right now. So, or not, 20%. And then, so in total, she gives, sorry, I got a little mixed up, but then she total can give 50% to one ally, right? Because this is 10%. Can I click this? Thank you very much. This is 10%, that's 20%, and then that's 20%. So then in total, she can give 50% like Waver. A bit more spread out, because Waver can only give you like the one 30% glob and then 20% to everybody, whereas Reigns can kind of spread it around and be like, well, everybody gets 10%, and then I have two 20% I can give out. So it makes her very versatile, very good as a support. I don't think she's actually bad to go ahead and summon for, because she is very useful. Having like another just 50% support type servant that can just give that to anybody, very strong, especially if you really like using Chen Dingle Dong. Very good for that. But I mean, would I recommend summoning? I'm like, maybe, because we're gonna be really close. It's like, maybe you could throw a multi at it, right? But it's like, if you gotta summon on something and you don't have Scotty, I definitely recommend going for Musashi, and then trying to hold your Saint Quartz for Castoria, because I mean, dude, but it's like we got a murderer's row of banners coming out. I mean, very good for quick, insanely good for Castoria, very, very good. It's just like a toolbox thing to have in your account, and then very, very good single target quick servant, very fun stally servant, right? And then insane boss killer, even without Scotty. So it's like we have a murderer's row of servants coming out, but it's like, try to hold strong, my brothers. Like, we gotta hold out for Castoria. Let's try to do our best. But with all that being said, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're trying to hit 100K, and you know, it seems like we're slowly making progress towards that. I would appreciate all the support you guys can give me. If you want to support the channel for free, you can come up to the streams over on the weekdays on my Twitch. That's the link down in the description down below. And you can further support the channel for absolutely free, no cost to you, if you download LD Emulator in the description down below, or join my Loot Cakes Alliance, which is also down in the description down below. But with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. You guys have yourselves a nice day. Peace, late, guys.